Hello, everybody. This is Angela Hooper-Menifield of Menifield and Associates, and I am here with your HR moment for Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020. So, December's here. Can you guys believe it? And it has been really great over this past year to spend some time, doing our HR moments. And so I'm really appreciative of the support that I've gotten from, my friends and family and all that. So over the last few days, as I begin to wind down in 2020, and when I wind down, I don't necessarily mean I'll stop working. I more so mean that I'm going to just take some time to be reflective over the year that has been. Oh, apologies, my internet's not that great today. But be reflective over the year that has been, but then also think about the fact that I want to make some things better for, for 2021. And so some of that is thinking about where you are and where you want to be. And so it made me begin to think about the fact that, there's a saying, and I know we've all heard it, that you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And so if we think about that in the context of what it is we want to be, it really started making me want to dig more into that saying. Like, what does that really mean? And of course, everybody knows what an average is, right? You take the high, you take the low, you add it all together, divide it up by the number. But what is really the impact of that? And then it made me go a little further because it made me want to think a little bit more into cause and effect as well. And some of you are friends with myself and also Cedric, and he's in the process of putting together a workshop, I think will be next week or the week after next, about cause and effect. And as humans, I've always believed that we're causative. And what that means is we have the ability to create and cause things to happen. Whereas operating in the mindset, well, it just is what it is. And so when we begin to think about that, how does the people we associate with affect that? And so I've worked in work environments, and some of you may have also, where it seems like if you get in the room with the other supervisors, you do a supervisory training or something like that, what you find is everybody's bemoaning their team, right? Like, this is wrong with this person, that's wrong with that person, like very little good to say. And just the impact of our environment, the places we are, the people we associate with. Studies have been done, and whenever I talk about something, I always want to know, like, what have other people said about this? What is the research? But there is evidence to suggest that even when it comes to your weight, when it comes to, other habits like smoking and drinking, that literally who you hang around has an impact of that. Now, that could be the part about, birds of a feather flock together and things like that. But you are more inclined to do X if your friends do it, the percentages raise. And in the instance where it talked about weight, they talked about the fact that if you're friends with people who are, let's say, that are unhealthy in weight, and then your friends are unhealthy, what tends to happen is your perspective is clouded, and now what you see as baseline or healthy or average or acceptable has changed. And so when we think about that and how people treat their employees or how people navigate their authority, I think it's the same way, right? Like, if you're in an organization or you're talking to other people in the way they talk to their employees or how they demand things of them, how they handle different indiscretions or deficiencies, you might find that unawares, you're beginning to do the same thing. And so as a result of that, I do think it's important for us to think about the fact that we can play a positive role in that. So on the flip side, if you're in a group that perhaps the energy there is not as positive, then what you could potentially do is you shift and bring other people who shift, right? So maybe the culture, last week on my radio show, I talked a lot about culture, and culture is all about our behaviors, what we think, what we do, how we show up, what we value, our beliefs. But in an effort to change the culture, it's not going to happen overnight, right? So we have to do some things that are indicative of creating a new path, but also bring other people along. So now what we're doing looks like the norm versus the anomaly. And so again, for many of you who are supervisors, I listen to the stories, and sometimes I go to organizations and I cringe. Like, they begin to tell me how they, about a discussion they had with an employee and how they responded. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, you really said that to somebody, and you said it like that? And the odds are, I'll just be honest with you, the way I'm getting the story is probably making them look better. But what I find is that other people in the organization do the same thing, or maybe their bosses do it to them. And so I say all that to say that we do emulate, right? We model the behaviors that we see other people displaying. And so if we want to be better, if we want to raise our average, right, whatever that is, then we have to begin to assimilate and connect with people who do things more in line with either the way we desire to do it or we aspire to do it. Now, training is awesome. A lot of us go to training, but training doesn't fix everything, because there is truth in the fact that there is a gap between what we know to do and what we actually do. And I am here to tell you that how we overcome that gap is to get in an environment of people who are doing it better. Hey, Rick, how are you? I am saying hello. So it's all about, again, who are we associating with, and then who do they associate with? I'm a firm believer that, again, we can cause or create what we want to create. And so there is an effect of being associated with, hanging around, discussing. Even as a teacher, I remember, and I'm sorry, as a student, but being around professors and teachers, sometimes they get in those settings and everybody bemoans, or with even friends, right? If we all sit around and talk about, our relationships, and we do so in a negative way, we feel negatively about them. I could get in a different room with a bunch of people who are applauding and celebrating and talking about all the positives, and all of a sudden, I can begin to see some good. Recently I gave myself a charge to spend 30 focused days on reminding myself about what was good in certain aspects of my life and what I valued there. And we see people doing it on Facebook all the time. They say gratitude posts, thankful posts, and things like that. And those things are really powerful. So again, as a supervisor, you can do that too. And one of the ways you can do it, of course, I've talked about journaling all the time, but of course it's to journal. It's to journal through those emotions, journal through what it is you really like and value about your team, and then use that to build upon. Because the saying is very true. What we focus on, where our focus goes, our energy flows. And so many of us are leaking energy because we're dividing our time and efforts in multiple places and not being serious and intentional about where our energy is going. And then some of us are literally using our time and energy to focus on things like negativity, our fears, what we don't want. So as a supervisor, if you find yourself always saying things like, I really wish my employees wouldn't do this, I need to get them to stop focusing on what you want them to stop doing. Focus on what you want them to do, right? That's a different trajectory. It can still get you the same result, but you're putting your energy in a positive way. And so I want to leave you with this as we hit near our 10-minute mark. And of course, try to keep these HR moments at 10 minutes. Plus the Steelers are on today in the middle of the day, and they're not starting off well. So they need my attention. But I really just want to encourage you again to to think about what it is you want and how you can get that. So again, journaling is a great way to do it. And if you don't have a journal or something that you can use, again, a plain notebook is a great place to start. But if you want something that's structured and strategic, of course, I'm always going to encourage you to use our new Supervisor's 30-day growth journal, because it is designed to specifically help you in that space. But as we part, and again, we'll be back on Friday for our HR moment, I just want to remind you that as supervisors, our role is critical. I'll agree with you that we don't get paid enough to do what it is we do. And I'll say we, because I'm always the supervisor's, anchor at heart. So we don't get enough to do what we do. But I would tell you that if you chose to be a supervisor, again, ask yourself why. Why did you want that job? And was it just for the money? And if it was just for the money, the truth of the matter is your why is not big enough, and that probably won't keep you in it. But we play the role of making sure that things are done properly in the organization, that the rules, the procedures, the regulations are all complied with. But we're also the connection, the liaison between the business owner and the employee, that frontline employee. And so our role is really important. And I know that it often feels as if we're taken for granted. Trust me, it's like parenting and everything else, right? Sometimes they don't appreciate you until, they have to do it, right? I can't tell you the number of employees who've come back to me and said, man, Angela, if I'd only known then what I know now. And so we have to charge it to their head, not their heart, but know that our role is important. And so if we really want to grow as a supervisor, if we really want to do better, we must put ourselves in a community of other people who are growing, who are trying to get better, who are trying to do better. And I think if we do that, we'll see that our average will begin to raise, right? Because again, there is a cause, and some of that is where you affiliate, where you associate, the company that you keep. What is the, self-talk? What are the things that you think about yourself and your team? And then, of course, are you growing? And so I want the answer for all of that to be yes, because again, we are a gift, we are needed, we are necessary. Oftentimes I tell people supervisors also like overhead, right? Because sometimes they're not the ones making the money, they're supervising the people who do it, but we're the overhead that you need. So don't be shy about being overhead, right? Like I wear that with a badge of honor, like, yeah, you need me. I am a necessary cost, just like life insurance, car insurance, homeowner's insurance, like I'm a necessary cost. Because you don't want to wake up one day and not have me there, right? So that's my attitude, and I'm sticking with it. But again, thanks everybody for watching. I know some of you will catch the replay. We came a little earlier today because I have a meeting this afternoon and some other things I need to do, but we just wanted to make sure we got our HR moment in. So again, look for us at www.supervisoracademy.com. Enrollment is currently open for our 12-month program for supervisors. And through the end of the year, it's at a discounted price, a one-time price for the entire year. And I think it's a resource and something that could be really valuable to not only you, but others on your team. And of course, don't forget to check out our journal. I think the listing will actually finally be on Amazon by the end of the week, but you can always go to the same website to get the journal as well. So thanks everybody. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you on Friday. Take care. Bye.